Hey, it's Rich and Crystal, and yeah, we're just going to speak authentically here for a minute because we're in a terrible predicament. Who'd have thought? Um, Basically, I've been scapegoated. Now, I just got one thing to say up the front. If I've hurt anyone due to my confusions, conscious or unconscious, intentional or not intentional, I am sorry. However, I've forgiven myself for those things, and for those things at all, and I can't move forward without with the rest of the world holding me there. Now, there's been a huge clusterfuck of a life happened, and me and Crystal are vagrants. We are just here squatting in this house, and we've lived as vagrants for over 2 years now, without really enough to exist. Simple as that. And 2 years ago, I actually suicided, and from the systemic abuse and neglect and the shame that's not even all mine. Now, if I'm a criminal, a rapist, a pedophile, a dog fucker, arrest me. Don't just act in the spaces between spaces to exploit and further oppress and demonise me. That's inequitable and it's not fair. I've just read a thing before that said something about along the lines of does something fit the crime or something like that. I can't remember what it was. What was it? I'll just have a look. It's about sentencing and that kind of stuff. If someone's done something wrong, it's about does the crime. If someone's guilty, does the crime equitably fit what it is? And we all know I wrote my autobiography when I was in my early 20s, and it had consensual but regretful sex in there. Hello, when someone loses their virginity, who really creates out of the good Lord's face for procreation? Very few, I'd say. But look, it's been used as a tool against me, and that whole book is a snapshot for people to exploit me, and the people who are using it, people who are threatened by me and my honesty and the way they've wronged me, and I'm a threat to them, and it's come up again as another issue for me at this time, and there actually is, and I'm not being paranoid, a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Now, it's complex, but it's a narrative that's been lifelong, and I've acted of my heart and goodwill for 25 years to try and help people who are more marginalised than myself, or peers, or other people, black, white, straight, gay, men, women, trans, whatever. I've used secular ethics beyond religion to work at a local, state, federal, international level, and I carved a name for myself. But unfortunately, the oxymoron of that was that I'd offered up my either designed or residual guilt or vulnerabilities, and they've been used as weapons against me. Now, it's been a long life. I've moved. Right now, me and Crystal the dog, we're vagrants. We've lived after a suicide attempt, which was deemed fatal from systemic oppression, government oppression, as vagrants in an intelligently designed poverty. And it's easily provable by the things that are on this website. I'm going to put it on killhim.info. Now, I just read this out because hang on, where was it? There has been a huge injustice that's happened, and if there was any misgivings of the past, it's not equal and equitable to the injustices that actually have occurred, and I can prove and have already proved, and that I've proven beyond reasonable doubt that every politician in Australia has now acted with a mission to not acknowledge. Now, I'm a person who actually does have a disability, and it is against the Charter of Human Rights for people with a disability not to have equal access to the law and equality before the law. I absolutely don't. I've never had a lawyer, or not one that's already framed against me. It's been an abhorrent kind of thing. I'm just trying to find the bit where what was I reading here? So I get confused. I always get forgetful, forget what I'm doing. I'll just try and get this. But I'm going to read this out and just take my time to say it, because it needs to be said, and I need to say explicitly and right up front. If you think I've done something wrong, tell me. If you think I'm a criminal, then arrest me. But the nuances of life are much more subtle than that, but they can be more broad and absolutely more damning than a jail sentence would ever be. Or, if I was in jail, if I did do a crime, I'd be having 3 meals a day and have a roof over my head. And I've been really struggling even to get that. But anyway, here we go. I've just brought up something now. This started from a few genesis points. There was the book, and then there was the being framed as a rapist and a bloody sex predator and all that kind of stuff, which was libel and slander and all that kind of stuff. But it had a half believable truth to it, because I told the story and I displayed the perceived guilt, but that was all interpersonally linked to me and my own child sexual abuse issues, which I carried with great weight until I was 44, and then I told people, and no one wanted to believe me, and I wasn't believed. And now, right in the midst of all that, there was a relationship with a bloke who worked for ASIO, and he was a multi-millionaire. I had a huge nest egg when I met him, and he exploited me sexually, financially, in every way, and it was toxic, and it was a huge clusterfuck. And that person exploited me, cheated on me, left me with his dying dog. He was a multi-millionaire. Lies, and the government's protecting him. The government knows that we were together for 5 years and engaged to be married, and all our friends and family do as well. I just can't believe that not one person in the world has my back. It's it's the life of a scapegoat. The whole government's defended him, and he's been instrumental in having me incarcerated and further oppressed and persecuted by proxy from afar. And that's a shit thing. It's a cowardly thing to do. And the other thing is the book, and the other thing is that there was a GP malpractice case, and I record weird things because I was kooky like that, but I didn't do it out of malice. I've never intentionally meant to hurt anyone. And this GP, I pressed record when I went in there because I didn't think I was speaking sense to people. It didn't feel like now, I don't feel like I'm making sense. Am I making sense to anyone? Is anyone listening? Anyway, I was like this with this GP because I was actually suicidal from grief from the death of a friend and isolation of doing a PhD, which was on the end of the world, and post-humanism and all sorts of other things. And so I actually overdosed with medication he gave me in the same session that I told him I wanted to hotbox myself on heroin. Now, I'd forgotten about that, and I had a risky overdose, and I I found when I moved house a suicide note, and I was angry at the world from them not sticking up for me, and I thought that ethically didn't sit well with me, so I made a complaint to the GP clinic, and I didn't know politically how complaints go or anything like that. I was just like, I had the suicide note, and I believed it was an ethical dilemma because as a PhD, ethics means do no harm, and harm was being done to me by either omission or not acting. So now the GP's lawyer, I had no idea about this. It was Mr. Ball of Ball and Partners. Now that's a very high grade lawyer's boutique, and Mr. Ball, this bloke, he informs the government ombudsman, and he advises the government on policy. And now I didn't find out until I fought this for a long time, and I didn't find out till after I'd killed myself and then survived, because it was a fatal injury, the Freedom of Information said, and a lethal attempt. I didn't find out till after I'd been oppressed by all that time that he had written in a form legible to the Health Complaints Commissioner and the police. All these people towed the party line of not hearing that evidence, and I was led to believe that it was bad, and so I just did a transcription that was fine. But then even that was scribbled all over. So the police, APRA, Health Complaints Commissioner, NHP, APC, IBAC, the Victorian Inspectorate, and the Ombudsman, he had framed me as a person who had recorded him intentionally to extort him for money. Now, at the same time, someone had gifted me $100,000. It was Mark Eng, the old owner of the Raleigh Street place where me and Steve lived, and he said it was a mistake, so I gave it back. Now, I consider that libel and slander, and that's a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice right there, an internal one that I didn't find out about until much later, and it was done silently and shadily and in secret, and that's shit. I guess there is some. It can be seen as a guilty thing that I recorded him, but it really was not, in the honesty of our heart, out of any malice whatsoever. I was just reality checking, as I do, because I've had experiences in life which I don't know if they're true or not. So it was like I was having a conversation with myself. So anyway, following that little head fuck that aided and abetted really my death, is what was this? Oh, I was involved in a violent affray at about the same time as I was talking about my sexual abuse to Robert McKinnon, a psychologist, and I made a complaint to get it acknowledged because no one would believe me. Any wonder I've been framed as an extortionist for money, and then I'll go ahead and make a complaint about sexual abuse. It looks like I've made it up, you know. So my advocate case took over 3 years to get in front of the. Oh no, that was the other case. Sorry. I was involved in a violent affray when I had to protect someone who I thought was being beaten up, and or who was being beaten up when I got there. Now, the police refused to hand over the evidence of the video where I would clearly see intervening, and it was redacted from my Freedom of Information after I was pinned as the principal aggressor. So obviously I'm an extortionist, I'm a rapist, blah, blah, blah. And then that was shit. And then my other VOCAT case took 3 years to defend my own child sexual abuse case, which explains a lot of the guilts around consensual sex when abusive sex as a child had happened before, and the schism that happens with that when it's not acknowledged. What was it? My own child sexual abuse case, where I was the victim, and the judge said, quote, I was doomed to fail. Now, I couldn't believe that, because that's a horrible thing to say to someone who's fought for 3 years with a lawyer who refused to even give me a result. No PDF, no letter, just told me on the phone. And I took it up with the people who oversee the lawyers, and they protected the lawyers. And as it stands, I've never ever had a lawyer. Anyway, she probably thought I was an extortionist, following this narrative of the subliminal and subtext thing that's behind the scenes and in the government. Anyway, so back years ago, after my book was published and the Herald Sun ran with the headline "My Descent into Madness," thanks Herald Sun, and then 3 weeks later I was fired from the Age, thanks the Age, and my conciliation, I was tried 10 years or 20 years and loved that job, and I asked for a large sum of money with the Equal Opportunity place or the whatever it was, and I got, I think, $5,500. Anyway, then I went on to work in mental health, and that was had vexed troubles of its own, because as a sensitive person and being around discordant people who were also discordant, it's all very authentic and meaningful, but it's not a thanked position, and it's not one that made a lot of money, that's for sure. So I had a bit of a meltdown there, and ended up being paid a total permanent disability in 2008 from my super fund, Health Super. And there was also an impairment claim, which was with work cover at the time, and it was just never acknowledged. So I was tricked out of that by the ACCC, and it wasn't paid. But anyway, I found out that the payment in 2008 was about about $83,000, I think. But I found out since that the standard unit of cover in 2007, the year before I got paid out, was 2 units. I only got paid out for 1. So you'd think I could get the detriment for the extra unit, right? Bye-bye. No, the insurer, DXC, refused to talk to me, and that's it. I've just got no power, no say. I've been framed, and I can't get a lawyer. I can't go to the police. I can't be a whistleblower. The Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet refused my freedom of information, and also my public interest disclosure. I wrote all this this framing and persecution down on a huge letter and sent it to the police, and they just threatened me with the CAT team. And again, I would send it to the Australian Human Rights Commission, who jibbed me once before, and they just politely said, no, not investigating it. I can't believe it's clearly persecution, and it's systemic, and it's through the whole government. Now, it ended up in my fatal suicide. I can't make this up enough. Sometimes I believe I wonder if it's even happening. And so I had all these financial complaints at AFCA. I had one with the bank. I had one with HCF, my insurer. When I got sick from work and I realised I was framed, I was doing my client's VOCAT case, because he had some heinous child sexual abuse stuff happen, child rapes and incest happen. And not only was it triggering for me, but I'd realised suddenly that after I finished my PhD and ran my own business for 2 years on medication, which was great for me, dexamphetamine from the for the ADHD, was doing really well, and then realised my work was rendered illegitimate, and I was stressed about the case, and I was triggered by my client's stuff. So I took a break, and I thought I'll get income protection to kick in for just a month, because I've been working for 2 years straight, and I've got a contract with the NDIS, and I've got a profile on the Department's Social Security website. So for all intents and purposes, I'm a government employee, even though I'm a contractor. Anyway, so I take all this stuff to AFCA, and both before and after I died, which they knew about, they delayed and denied and deferred all my determinations beyond the 4 weeks that I should have had them done in for a vulnerable person financially, and they knew that from 2018. And this was in 2021. So I caught Tim Goss out, and all the evidence is on this side of setting me up to fail, and I've been set up to fail for years and years with agencies, with organisations, with people, malice, slander, prejudice, stigma. I've spoken on stigma for a lot of my years, and I know what it is, and I absolutely recognise it. And when it's the more subtle form, it's even more destructive. Now, I threatened AFCA and Tim Goss with calling him out for being in a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. And what do they do? Oh, I'm a threat. So they banned me. And so the ACCC, they also banned me and I'm banned from being a lawyer and all this stuff. I'm just not having much luck, you know. Lost my job at the age, wanted $450,000, but I got $6,000. Now, that injury in the hospital, what a fucking tragedy that was. You know, when the CAT team came to get me, I was absolutely sane, and I was absolutely not suicidal. The amount of prejudice and deceit and stigma, and the way they framed me with illness, even though I'm ill, it doesn't mean that a conspiracy's not happening. So it absolutely fucking was. And I recorded it. They said, you're not allowed to publish it. Well, fuck them. What are they going to do? Sue me? So that's on the website too. And I literally died in that hospital. The Freedom of Information said it was a fatal injury and a lethal attempt. Now, I bled out on the bloody bit of the shower of the loony bin floor. I was even considerate for the people who found me and left the shower running. Now, I've got a brain detriment from then. I know my brain. I know it's not as good as it used to. I don't remember things. I get confused. This is detriment. That's what detriment is. It's a literal detriment. And I tried to. No one gave a fuck that I died. It was just more of an excuse to reject and ostracize and neglect me, and everyone did. Universally, I was forsaken, and I tried to live in defence of my life, and because I'd forgotten, because my brain's not very good, I went through all the same things again. So I went to Health Complaints Commissioner, the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner. I didn't realise I'd already been set up to be framed and fail. So I did this for ages on my own, living in detriment, while still fighting AFCA and the Australian Human Rights Commission, where I lost another $1 million for having this fight with a super company, free kicked to the other team by Liz Lindbergh, because that's fair and equitable and impartial, not. And that's just another reason how I've been exploited. And I started to learn the politics, and I started to know what was going on. I wrote to Michaelia Cassidy, the Attorney General, and I said, look, I failed at Comcare. That was with WorkCover, that was kicked from WorkSafe to Comcare, and then onto the AET. Paul Fowler rejected me at Comcare, and he is the old boss at WorkSafe. This is corruption. It's clear as bell. I wrote to the Attorney General. I said, this is shit. I've lost at Comcare. I've lost at the Australian Human Rights Commission. I've lost at, what was the other one? AFCA and other places. Like, this is fucked. I'm going to fail at the AAT. And I explicitly said to her, I don't need welfare. I need justice. I need someone to intervene in this clearly evident corruption, which is persecuting me. And it's gaslighting. Gaslighting is a proven methodology of torture. You know what you do? You look them right in the eye and you just tell them exactly what they already know and tell them that they don't matter. She sent me to the Sane Helpline. Well, my book was Sane's Book of the Year. I'd already spoken to Jack Heath about it, the CEO. He told me to move on. Barbara Hocking, rest in peace, she was always helpful, but I'm beginning to wonder how she exploited me. Now, what was I saying? There's another policy, health, accident policy and health with an insurance place with National Association of Visual Arts, and that's with API. I think it's API. They just said no. I think everyone knows that right up to the Office of Prime Minister and Cabinet, I'm fucked. Like, for whatever reason, whether it be the one early on or just I've been framed somewhere on the line, or just the everyday prejudice, which is innate in human beings, and how half believable truths are spread and exploited in all people, and it's a real easy way to write someone off. It's not so easy to try and understand the nuances of someone's story and situation, they just said no. And I look back at other things too over the years. Like, I made a free energy machine invention, which was part of my master's degree. I've always had the idea. And the Clean Energy Finance Corporation offered me $2 million for a prototype. And I thought, well, fucking ripper, I'll just make one. Yeah, how am I going to make one? I'm on a pension, mate. This is while my former partner's making 40 grand a month in an entirely inequitable situation, but I couldn't make it. I asked my Uncle Bruce, can we make it? And he didn't help me. Anyway, so the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, that didn't end up coming about. And the other thing too, I just remembered that I had a really in 2010 I did a self-portrait that was really said something about me, but it was really tragic, and I had a public profile, and I offered it to the National Portrait Gallery, which is under the Attorney General, I think, too, portfolio. All of a sudden, they haven't got room. I'm like, oh, that would have been a nice feather in the cap for an artist who struggled his whole life, but they rejected it. Anyway, so basic stuff here. Can someone get me a doctor? I've literally got cancer on my nose, on my face, back of my hands, and maybe in my bowel. Sorry to be gross, but I use bloody douche to shit, and that's a bit shit. And I had an infection a couple of months ago, and I was hot and cold and pussy in the throat, all sorts of grossness. Calling the ambulance because I'm rejected from all the doctor's surgeries because I've been framed at APRA, and I'm hard work because now the government's taken over, and they're force medicating me for delusions of persecution, but they're all true. The doctors won't see me, and I called the ambulance, and the ambulance said they kept me on the phone. I go, you're not going to send one, eh? I really need one. And then next thing you know, cops turn up. Fucking cops. Anyway, like, they've really been helpful for me. So so they turn up, and they don't do anything. And we've kind of hit a lock horns kind of situation because they hate me. I'm trying to report crime to them. They won't acknowledge it. I've got heaps of recordings of it, and there's just an impasse, and I don't know if they're waiting for me to say something or kind of admit to something that was implied or whatever. There's definitely a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and it's libel and slander. I'm not an idiot. Everyone knows it, and everyone has witnessed this happen, and they've witnessed my life, and it's been difficult for a lot of people, and it's been difficult for me. But I think that the more negative and darker undertones of framing someone and the libel and slander have been a real success, and people have watched me fall into traps, speaking and kind of being exploited, So anyway, and the NDIS. So the NDIS, I'm an employee with the NDIS for the purposes of the SRC Act. It's over 2 years since my work cover should have kicked in for my emotional workplace injury. Do you think it's come? No. Apart from the corruption with Paul Fowler and the Attorney General, now Bill Shorten won't even acknowledge my emails, and neither will Mark Dreyfus. And I've met both of them. They know who I am, and what was I going to say? And plus I'm a provider and a participant of the NDIS, so I rely on the NDIS to survive. And they're denying me any emergency combination or a thing that's called SILS, which is supported independent living combination. They just won't help me. I haven't even got a area coordinator. I have to go straight to the NDIS where there's a chick there. What's her name? Can't remember. Who oversees it. She won't acknowledge anything. I'm going, I'm literally dying here. I'm starving. Help me. Please help me. I've got a mental illness. Half it's real, half it's imagined. There's real and the ideal, and there's a big unsure zone in the middle. I said, I've got a PhD and do no harm, and everyone's harming me. And that's exactly it. People are acting via omission or not acting at all, or accusing me between the cracks, and they're harming me. And I have been harmed, and I've been killed from systemic government oppression underpinned by powerful people. And that is a fucking fact. The hospital things don't lie. I wasn't suicidal at all when I went to that hospital. Dr. Kumar knew me from 13 years earlier, and he knew all about my former partner, and he suggested at the time that I go to the police. Anyway, not that would have worked, but and the NDIS Enterprise Agreement, well, that's clearly a document that's important because it says I get paid a super guarantee with a permanent disability insurance. I mean, that would be helpful now, as well as the insurance that I lost at the Australian Human Rights Commission. You know, can someone get me a lawyer? Like, that's cooked from the top. Like, I've never had a lawyer. That's against the Charter of Human Rights of people with disability. Now, I've tried my best to get a lawyer and someone to help me, and they always look the other way or find a reason not to support me. And I got a lawyer for some, but as soon as they found out who he was and the seriousness of it, or something happened, they refused and they dumped me. So I went to the lawyer directly myself because I had her address and a letter back, full of lies, of course. But an equal, legal, fair separation is required. He dumped me with his dying dog. He threatened to kill it, so I took it, and it was a disaster. I lived in poverty. I was okay when I did my PhD, kept my nose down, but then when I started to be sick from work and look for other ways to just simply survive, I sent the email. Next thing you know, I get a random message saying you need help. Next thing you know, I'm in the psych unit, being further oppressed, and all my medication taken away, and medication I didn't need being given to me. Anyway, all that time through that relationship, I was doing my master's degree in education, doing fundraising for the Royal Children's Hospital with the children's book that I did. And this kid wrote, "Thanks for helping us," and I was so joyful. And you know, what has everyone else done for anyone else lately? You know, some people do, and they're altruistic and they give back to the community, but other people don't. You know, I was with someone who was totally working for the money. It's all about the money. Now I was on the pension and working, running art classes in the backyard, trying to keep up with the Joneses in my happy house, and still offering my time and my creativity to raise funds for the Royal Children's Hospital, the Banksy unit, for child and adolescent mental health. So, I mean, I've tried to give as much as I can. I've just written here, I feel like maybe Alan Owen saw me coming. Yes, it was an authentic and gutsy story, but what about the legal ramifications of that, of saying all that stuff about yourself, and the libel and slander that would obviously come from that? I mean, the management there must have signed something or known of that. I didn't really know about it. And now, just today, and today at the dog park and out the front, there's this curated neurosis in me, and it's half real and it's half fantasy. There are people going, "You raped her, you raped her," and they're using it as a keystone thing to hold all of this oppression up against me, and try and make me acknowledge it in a way. But I guess by doing this, I am. And I've just written down here, can anyone tell the people screaming, "I'm a rapist," outside my window to go away? Murder doesn't go well with say at the door. All right, wait on a sec, Michael, wait on. Ran knock on the door, thought it was the police. It was my neighbour. So basically, from the first time to the second time and the third time in hospital, I've been malnourished. They noticed that, and in addition to the first time they left me out of hospital after I suicided, they said I'm not psychotic and I am acutely aware, and I am neither psychotic nor delusional. So, you know, depending on who you ask, I could be anything. What was I going to say? So the government's basically covered it up, and then expected everyone to do the same, and that's happened. And then now they've kept me an intelligently designed vagrant, consciously redacting all this prosperity from me in a legal and just and equitable and fair thing. And now they've ruled that I must be moved on from the squat that I live in with Crystal. So this is shit. A pension is of about $950 a fortnight, and so it's what $1,800 a month or something. But after just very basic bills, my rent alone is $1,700 a month. For 2 years, the system has known I have not had enough to simply exist in a home, and that's the gist of it. Now, I'm floored by people who can't understand that, who say, "Oh, don't you get Centrelink or something like that?" And they just, for people who've never been in detriment or in a position of poverty, they have no concept of it. I understand my family and people are frustrated with me. I'm not the easiest person to get along with, but I'll try to be kind. We trigger each other, but I feel for my sister. She struggles, but is she trying her best? I don't know. But she says to me, "You're a drug addict, a schizo, get the fuck out of our lives." That was on my birthday 2 years ago, and I got given $40 on that birthday, because $50 would buy drugs, and I'm a drug addict. And if I have used drugs, it's only because they've taken the dexamphetamine away that I had performed so well on for a period of 7 years. It's really fucked. Anyway, everyone's forgiven. So the Attorney General, there's just so many things. I went bankrupt. Shit. Shortly after the hospital, I had to go bankrupt. I didn't have to go bankrupt. I had all this money owing to me. I did it to save the shame of me and my family having to cover my way. But no one did want to cover my way, and I had to set my own plan of intervention to help me not be a vagrant. But now I am. So there you go. So the government's basically already killed me. Systemic injustice. It's persecution. It's vile victimisation. It's libel and slander. It's conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, and it's not equal and equitable to the apparent things that I've done, which are used now as a weapon for the book for powerful people who are trying to fucking kill me, and they are trying to do me harm. They're harming me. They're harming me now, and they're expecting everyone else to not act because they've intentionally gone out of the way to contact people and slander me. I have had person after person disappear out of my life. It's not drugs that's done it. It's not mental illness that's done it. It's something that's said, and it's a combination of very complex things, but it's not exclusive of one or the other, but there is definitely a movement of oppression and a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. All of the evidence is on killhim.info, just underneath. And I find it abhorrent that this is occurring to me. I mean, I just love someone to step in. Not once has someone said, "Gee, it's shit what's happening in Rich. Let's help him." Where was that guy? Where was that guy, Crystal? Where is he? Can you say, where was that guy? Where are they? I don't know. What does the world want me to do? I can't remember anything. I'm an employee for the purposes of work cover. I've got a Department of Social Security profile. Bill Shorten could easily answer that. The Attorney General could. Anyone could. Any government. Actually, any single government person who is in public office is under the public whatever act, and they must not act outside the remit of of the Charter of Human Rights with people with disability. And that says that we must not be exploited, we must not be used, taken advantage of, we must not have life redacted from us, we not be tortured, and we must not have our property withheld. What is wrong with this story? All of those things have happened to me. Any of those people could easily acknowledge, with bank accounts in our same name, living together, engaged, that everyone knew, and at one point I dobbed in the Centrelink thing, and Steve told me to go off it because he couldn't afford me. I don't know how that happened. Bank accounts together. Any one of those public officials could simply acknowledge we were together. Any one of them. Anyone in the world. Actually, any friend or any person whose name means Steve could actually advocate for me and not go with the snide criminal and the smooth talker, and exploit the vulnerable one. Anyone could stand for me. No one has. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. I just wanted to say this story today because there's people screaming out the front, fucking rapist, fucking die, you raped you, and all this kind of stuff. I don't even know where I'm being attacked from anymore. It's hard to know because these powerful people and these conspiracies to pervert the course of justice, underpinned by powerful political people with reputations to protect, have now got ammunition. And why is this resurrected at this point in my life? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm now a danger to the system. And you know what? If I know someone, I know people who'd kill someone for $5,000. I'm worth multi-millions of dollars here, if you add it all up. And they are going to fucking destroy me and get everyone turned against me before any of that happens, I guarantee it. I asked for people out there to acknowledge the honesty that, I mean, I'm not hiding anything. I put it all out there for you. I've done my best to help people and be a good person. I've been a kind person. I like to think I've been kind. I've been exploited, that's for sure. And I've been used. And I don't know, just a bit of a shit situation. And now everyone's forsaken me and I'm a vagrant. Can someone help me? They're going to kill me otherwise. If you wanted to do someone harm, you'd do exactly as they did to me. And you would do it sly and via proxy and via being a political prisoner. And you would absolutely desecrate and denigrate and destroy that person. And my reputation, my health, my legal rights, my agency to complain, my business was ruined, my website was ruined, destroying evidence. I was framed, libel, slander. I was set up to fail for years, fired. You can't make this up. Anyway, I was begging at the dog park the other day to try and sell books along my art, because that's really worth a lot of money. Will be when I'm dead. Big's just come in and I sold a crystal to the local coffee shop. I begged them to take it and offer me anything for it. It was worth about $1,500 and I got $50 for it. Now Mick wants to buy it, so I've got to go back and pick it up with this $50. But I might buy food because that's all I have in the world, and that's it. I know. If someone could help me, that would be really awesome. Thank you.